We are live. We are rolling. Babe, we're going. Babe,
I'm making sure my phone is on silent.
We're going, okay? Get your allergy ass in here. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sean and Sack Show. Those of you watching, Saxony's eyes are swollen. Not because of
crying
or domestic violence. We did have some rowdy sex, though. She has allergies really bad. So if you hear her sniffling, she's not crying yet. I'm sure she will.
It could switch over
she's
to crying.
A crier. And if she's honking away, it's because she's blowing her nose.
I have a tissue hidden behind my pillow.
You got crushed with them this year, babe.
I know. This has been a hard year.
No bueno.
I looked it up, and it says oak is really high. So
oak?
Yeah. I really love oak, though. So I don't know why it's fucking with me.
Your body doesn't like it. Get it under control.
Yeah.
Babe, we got a show to do.
Okay. Now y'all know why I look all a little crazy.
You're still hot as
Carry on.
Though, babe. You're hot.
Carry on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Sax we had a conversation this morning about what we wanted to talk about.
Like 10 minutes ago?
Well, yeah, but earlier too. And why don't you tell everybody what came to you and what... And this came because of Instagram, and you're having a conversation, and you did a post, and so...
Well, I posted actually in the den.
I
posted in the den, our coaching group, Sean's coaching group. It's a fantastic place. I've just sharing away, and I love all the shares that happen in there. And I was called to share about trusting the timing of your life. And I shared an experience of me on a horse where Bryn had taught me lessons, and it was a really cool moment because... As we've talked about, Sean and I have 1.0 and 2.0. And
for everybody that doesn't know, tell them what that is.
Sean and I dated twice. 1.0 was a great learning experience. Yeah. And I broke up with him, and then we got back together for 2.0.
And then I gave her a second chance.
Yes.
Good job.
I'm just the luckiest woman.
You are. Carry on. I just want to make sure everybody knows
that. One of the last dates that... were proposed before I broke it off with Sean was to go horseback riding. It was literally like probably the last attempt at hanging out. And it never happened. And I always kind of had this like, that sucks, you know, because I'd never been on a horse and I wanted that experience. And I held on to it for a little while of like, almost thinking like, oh man, like that should have happened. Bitter about it? Well, you know, it's just you process through things when you break up, right? And
what was your choice, just so you know. So it was
my choice.
Anyways.
So then fast forward to just like 3 days ago, we went to Brittany's barn, and well, actually she invited me. She messaged me. She said, hey, I can get you on a horse if you want to come over. And of course I was like, oh yeah. So we went over there as a family and some of our friends filming, and Bryn gave me amazing horseback riding lessons. And as I was on this horse, I'm listening to Bryn, our daughter, you know, really, really be in her place of power. She's talking about like, this is how it works. And just, it was really beautiful to watch her and be a teacher to your child, or to have your child be a teacher to you. And then I looked over at Sean, and you're standing there and you're taking photos and videos and you're just smiling ear to ear watching Bryn do her thing. And I immediately had that memory come back of our date to go horseback riding that never happened. And I thought, this is it. This is why it didn't happen, because it was supposed to happen like this. And so trusting in the timing of your life of, you know, there's story after story after story that we can all probably reference of, you know, you want something to happen when you want it, but that's not necessarily the way the story's supposed to go.
Right. So
we hold on to this and we get frustrated and we have resentment and we have, you know, we're trying to force life to play out the way we want it to. And sometimes, most of the time, God has a better story. He has a better way of writing this chapter, and it's just not time yet.
Yeah.
And so it inspired me to have us kind of talk about that, as I think a lot of people struggle with this.
Well, yeah, you had a lot of engagement on that post, and a lot of people, I was reading their comments about that, and that's obviously something that comes up a lot. Like, you know, I'm 35 years old and I'm here, or I'm, 40 years old and I'm here. I get messages from people all the time. They're like, hey, I'm, 19 and what should I be doing with my life? And I need to do this and I want to make $1 million. And I'm like, bro, you're fucking 19. Go live. Like go explore the world. You have no kids, no attachments to anything, you know?
Yeah.
And I think what's really, really cool is we were talking about this before the show, and with that post is you and I, obviously, we both believe in God, that anybody who's listening to this, like, we talk about it pretty regularly. And as I contemplated on your post and what we were sharing, like, I found that most of my life, you know, prayer for me and the timing, it was always like this negotiation, right? When do most people pray? When they need God, right?
Yep.
When do people have that last minute, oh shit, I just got into an accident. Oh, like, you know, let me live. I want to, you know, I'm stuck on the top of this cliff, and we have these frantic moments when then we reach out to God and it's like, give me these things and then I'll do these things. Or when we're praying, like, I really need this job. I really need these things. I really want this deal. And then if it doesn't happen, there's almost like this bitterness or this, God's not looking out for me, or God's not helping me, or whatever it is. And it's really fascinating to think about it from that perspective, because you and I are very much in alignment on the present and living in the present and being in the present and not really having a lot of attachments to things behind or in front, which is really, really difficult for a lot of people to understand, because you had every reason, if you will, to be angry or frustrated that we didn't go horseback riding, right? Sean was a dick. He was being a playboy. He wasn't committed, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you know, okay, some of that might be true, whatever. he said he was going to do this, but didn't do this, whatever. But the truth is that moment of us riding the horse there with, or you riding the horse with Bryn, it was perfect.
It all made sense.
And it all made sense, right? Yeah. And so one of the things that I am really working on, not only with me, but like I think people should kind of pay attention to with this conversation is it's difficult to wrap your head around, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a quote unquote, if you're like us,
you're a high A.
If you're a high A, an alpha,
like
whatever you want to,
I want it now.
Yeah, whatever you want to call yourself. If you're a go-getter, if you're a mover, like this is a hard concept to understand, number one, but number two, to live. Because we want to achieve, we want to capture, we want to hunt, we want to kill, we want to, you know, have all of these things now. And the truth of the matter is, at some point in time, you have to realize that, you know, it's not the game of being lethargic, right? It's not just, well, I'm just going to wake up, and if God tells me to put my feet on the floor, then maybe I'll walk, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's like very much being motivated and driven by action and movement, but not being attached so much to the things that happen or don't happen, right? Because I can tell you, like, I mean, we've talked about this with relationships, right? I had a conversation with a friend this morning about, you know, this exact thing, and having so much fear and anxiety around making a change or disconnecting from something or going a different direction, with the thought process being, oh, I wasted all of this time, or I spent years with this person and didn't end up where I thought I was going to end up or where I wanted to end up. But then you literally make it 10 minutes past that experience, right? And 10 minutes is a figurative number. It's 5 months, 6 months, a year, whatever else. And then all of a sudden it hits you why, and you're like, oh, shit. That's exactly why.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's really phenomenal about like what you shared is trusting the process. That's hard to do in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's actually really easy to do because you attach to so much less and appreciate so much more.
Sure.
Like you're very much a person of appreciation, and I think that I'm trying to keep up with you and being that way. But tell people about that, like how that gap between the date and the horse, and then the riding with Bryn. You know, you shared that with me afterwards, like how grateful you were that it didn't happen, that the date didn't happen.
Yeah. I want to expand on this too, is that this is a relationship show, and I really want to talk, because this is probably the biggest feedback I get is about finding your king, finding your queen, right? But in that particular moment, with that particular time and topic is it's like you want something so badly, and God's like, you're not ready for it yet. And it doesn't mean that you don't deserve it. Sure. It doesn't mean that it's not yours to have, but you and I back then, we were still amazing people, but we had a lot of individual work we had to do. And truly, we were and I believe this with all my heart, we were given each other for the first go around to expose us to some things that no one else had exposed us to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you challenged my ego and I challenged your ego, and we challenged each other in ways that no one had ever stepped up to. And that was like almost a tidal wave to process. This is a 6-month process of that tidal wave. And, you know, because we were not together for 6 months. And without those things happening, we would have never truly been able to connect like we did. And so I feel like, and I truly believe that God was like, taste this, feel this for a moment, now go back and do your homework, and then this will come again. But never, you know, I truly never thought I'd see you again. I'd written off all these things, but all of that stuck to me like I was Velcro, and I couldn't get it off. And it itched, and so I had to start picking it off and looking at it. And that's a very weird analogy I just popped in my head. But, you know, I couldn't.
Allergies
Because everything's sticking to me. And, you know, it's like I couldn't rid myself of what I had experienced with Sean. I couldn't. It was like he came in and he was like a little Tasmanian devil and shook me up in ways that I was just like, who the fuck are you? You're an asshole. And he thought I was a pretentious bitch. And we had this really funny ego battle that we ended up just having with ourselves in our minds after the other two left the room, right? And that's it. Like, God was like, you have stuff to do or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, we both chose to step in and do that work without any guarantees that we'd ever even see each other again. We did it for ourselves, which is why, you know, when people are like, I want to find my king, and my answer is always just keep doing you, because that is exactly the roadmap that I did. Is I just kept doing me, and if anything, I put that bitch into hyperdrive. I was like, you know, I took an entire January off and just surrendered to like, I need to get down and dirty with fixing some shit that I'm sick of living with. It was like my conditioning, my patterns, my way of thinking. And I literally devoted a month to it. No joke. I told my kids' dads, I was like, this is what I'm doing. If I'm a little off my rocker for a month, I'm just cleaning this motherfucker out. I'm done. And that's true. And then come February, we reconnected. Yeah. And God plays a divine role in our lives, if you want to believe it or not.
I believe it. I mean, I think about what you're saying with where I was financially, you know, making millions of dollars at a young age, had no fucking clue what I was doing. None. Was not prepared for it, was not ready for it, was not ready to be a money manager of my own life, like didn't understand the gravity of things, and wheeling and dealing, and then bang, you get slapped in the face through my bankruptcy. And spent years like trying to not just rebuild, but understand the game. So now to be able to be back there building multiple multi-million-dollar companies, it's a completely different experience. But I think what's really cool about what you said is the timing, literally the timing of things, but not being ready. We think we're ready. Ego says we're ready, right? I mean, when you start dating, you're like, yo, I'm ready. Like,
and we're highly impatient people.
Exactly.
All of us.
I got out of my last relationship. I'm like, I'm ready to get married. I brought these things. I want this experience. I wasn't even fucking close, man. I wasn't close. When you're 25 years old and you're making $1 million a year and you don't have a dad around or a father figure or anybody to help you understand what money is, what investing is, what slow growth is. I was a fucking maniac with money when I was a kid. I didn't understand it, right? So God punches you in the face, takes everything away, says, okay, you're going to sit with this for a little bit. You're going to learn these things. You're going to struggle for a few minutes. And then as you start, it's literally the exact same thing that happened with our relationship. Yeah. We go from where we were and your experiences in the past and my experiences in the past to, all right, here's 6 months. It's like, what the fuck? Like you said, like kind of at each other, but like scratching at these things that we didn't want to like look at or deal with. And then all of a sudden there's this gap and it's like, oh shit. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't ready for this, or maybe there is some more to this game. And I think that's super, super important for people to understand. The flip side of it is everything is relative, right? I mean, I'm 42 years old. If I live to 84 years old, I'm halfway through life. My body's already like, I already feel like I'm 80 something years old. But when you really stop and think about timing, and not just timing, but time in general, it's all relative, right? Yeah. where should I be financially? Where should we be in our relationship? There's a lot of people listening to this right now that have been through a divorce, or maybe you are single and you're looking at it going, ladies are 40, 45 years old going, fuck, I'm past baby making age. Like, I'm not going to be cranking any more kids. What am I going to do? Oh my God, my life's going to fall apart and all of these other things. And the truth is, it's all fucking relative, right? Yeah, you and I have talked. I think our season for having children is past. Like, our calling right now is to raise these 5 children that we have, to truly like nurture and grow. And hey, if God decides to slip something in there in between, I mean, I'm praying.
We'll let you know.
I'm praying that that's not. Well, I'm not praying that it's not, but I'm good right now, God. Okay.
God, we're really good. We have a puppy.
We're really good. We have 3 dogs. One's a fucking total maniac. So we got a ranch and we're gonna have cows. Like, we're good for right now. Okay.
We're good.
We're
Thank
good.
you.
But my point is there's people that then, and I want you guys to hear this. Like, I don't care where you are, whether you're 25, 35, 45 years old. Like, you're exactly, something that I want you to really understand is you're exactly where you need to be. And that might sound hard for some people because maybe you're in pain right now. Maybe you're dealing with a divorce. Maybe you're dealing with a breakup. Maybe you're in a situation where you're completely disconnected in your relationship. Maybe you're struggling financially, whatever it is. I truly believe you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Does that mean you stay there? No. Does that mean you surrender to this is my lot in life? Fuck no. When I went through my bankruptcy and went from making millions of dollars and living in a huge house to literally living in a 2-bedroom freaking condo, like, I knew that this was not my lot in life. I knew that this is not where I was supposed to be. I wallowed in my shit for a little bit. I felt sorry for myself, but I knew damn well, like, this is not who the fuck I was supposed to be, where I was going to go in life, right? But understand that wherever you are, like, wherever you're sitting right now, whatever you're dealing with, like, there's a lesson in it. There's an absolutely beautiful, powerful lesson in it. And you can try and negotiate with God, fight your way out of it. But we talk a lot about, the darkness. And so many people are trying to run away from the darkness. They're trying to avoid the darkness. They're trying to avoid every possible opportunity, them going into any type of darkness. And the truth is, the more you avoid it, the more you run away from it, the harder life gets, because the lessons are on the other side of that darkness.
Amen.
Like, where you are right now, it's all relative in the timing game, right? I mean, I'm 42 and I could be going, well, shit, where's my 401k? Where's my IRA? I should have this. Based off of CNBC, it says that I should be here. And the national average is, we live in a world of national averages and statistics. And the statistics are that most people are fucking overweight. Most people are broke. Most people are unhappy. I mean, those are what the real fucking statistics are. So if I'm being compared to those motherfuckers, you see what I'm saying? I don't want to be like them. I'm praying that I'm not like them. I'm praying that I'm not even remotely close to the fucking national averages or statistics of what's happening in this country right now. I don't want to be there, right? So understanding that where you are right now, it's exactly where you're supposed to be, number one. But number two, like, that month that you took off, that experience that I went through, like, everything that we've gone through, like, the flip side of it, the ending of it, if you will. I don't even know if it's ending is the right word, but there will be a lesson. I did a post on this the other day about the storms, right? Maybe you consider it a storm. Maybe you consider where you are right now in frustration or pain as like this darkness or this storm. There's 100% guarantee that it will end. 100%. Like, you want to talk timing? It might be a day, it might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a fucking year. It might be 2 years. But 100% of all of the storms that I've ever experienced, that you've ever experienced, they've all ended. And so when you think about timing, right, you can try and run out of it, steer your way out of it, get out of it even faster. But the truth of the matter is, where you and I were on that horse date 2 years ago, whatever, it wasn't supposed to happen. And what God was saying is, like, keep going, pushing you. Are you going to keep going? Are you going to keep going? And then all of a sudden, here we are at the barn as a family, with you riding a horse for the first time, with my daughter teaching you how to ride this horse, with me standing there, and it was like, this is exactly how it was supposed to play out.
I just noticed when you were telling that story, is you use the word should a lot. And we talk about, like, Aubrey Marcus even talked about in a podcast recently that I listened to, and it's have-tos and shoulds will fuck your life up. You don't have to do anything. And you don't, like, to should all over yourself is fucked. So like Greg's
Get to.
meditation yesterday,
Yep.
I get
to.
to. It might sound crazy, but the way you speak, you're talking to your subconscious mind. So if you're like, I should be doing this, I should have this,
Right.
you're literally shaming where you are.
Right.
And where are you going to go with shame? Fucking nowhere. You're going to go down. You're going to go to a pity party. So be very mindful of when you speak about your life. If you catch yourself, I hope this like bugs your ear now, is when you find yourself saying should and have to. Even Aubrey Marcus is like, you don't even have to breathe.
Yeah.
You can stop breathing. Yep. You have a choice. We literally have, with radical accountability, you have choice in all things. I want to talk about this because this is something that comes up nearly every day in my DMs is we share our story. And so many people are like, oh, I can't wait for my king, or I can't wait for my queen, or it's like this, they're in this state of longing for, right? And I can recall a day, I don't even know if I had met you yet, but it was around the time I met you. And I remember sitting on the stairs of my house and crying. And one of my best friends, she rented my basement mother-in-law apartment, and she was sitting at the bottom of the stairs, and I like just started sobbing. And I said, you know, like, I don't understand. Like, I'm a great person and I have great attributes and I'm successful and I'm a great mother and I'm like, I'm pretty and I have all of these things. Like, why can't I find love? Like, why is nothing working for me? As I was, you know, dating and it's just like nothing was working. And I kept thinking, well, I'm the common denominator. What's the problem? Like, why, what is it? And I just remember feeling this, like, almost like sorrow of truly not knowing if I would ever find a partner that was what I wanted. I mean, I knew all along I could settle for something. I could find someone that was good enough, you know, that had enough qualities, which is really what I dated for a long time. I was like, yeah, they're good enough. Oh, this works so well. But I remember that. And so I just wanted to talk about that. Like, I relate to that. To every DM that comes in and they're in that state, like, I get that feeling. The one thing that I did though is I kept going. I didn't settle. I didn't become a plant lady and swear off men and just tend to my gardens, which I was on the fence with for a little while. I was really
Still have the gardens.
I love my, and you know, like, so I have a lot of empathy for you guys. If you're in that state and you relate to what I just said, it's like my only gift to you is to encourage you to keep going. Because if you just keep building you, God will give you what is yours when it's the time that it is to arrive in your life. And now, in hindsight, I can say, oh, all of that makes sense. Every experience, every person I dated, our story, everything, it's like, it's clear as day now.
See, here's what I want you to talk more about, though. This is something that people have got to hear, and they have to understand this. Well, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to do anything. You just got done saying that. You don't have to do anything. However, if you want to fucking win, listen the fuck up.
I like to win.
Here's something that I have noticed, that you have noticed, that we have spoken about. And I'll just ask you, when you were sitting on the porch from there to today, have you done more work?
I've done so much more work.
Exactly. Did you or did you not? Did you just sit there and say, well, I'm a good woman, my king's just going to come along, and you sat on the front porch for 2 years?
Nope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is what people need to fucking understand about this game and what we're talking about, and specifically with that story, is there's this idea, and I talked to my friend about this morning, that, you know, I'm in this place and I can't stand when people post, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. Like, no, you're not. Real talk. Like, let's talk about what it really is. You saying I'm good enough is like, I'm good right here. Somebody's going to come over and save my ass. And the truth is if you're not trying to be in a different place tomorrow than you are today, don't be surprised why your life fucking sucks. Period. I know damn well that you did a ton of fucking work. And I think that you would probably agree that you're not even the same human being today as the woman that was sitting on the porch.
Only the flesh.
Only the flesh. And that's what I want people to hear out of this story, and what you're sharing is that you being able to, these women, these men that are like, I want my queen, I want my king, you know, I can't wait till they come along. It's almost like you've gotten your camping chair, you've opened it up, you got yourself a cocktail, you sit down on the fucking path, and you're like, I'll be right here. I'm just gonna sit right here, and one of these motherfucking guys that's coming along is gonna be my guy. And the truth of the matter is, like, you ain't moving. You're not moving down the path. You're not climbing the ladder. You're not becoming a different person. And I know damn well that there's no way that you and I would have gotten together, you and I would have worked, had I just said, one of these days this hot chick's going to come along and that's going to be my game. I'm not even the same fucking human being as I was 2 years ago. I don't think the same. I don't operate the same. And I can tell you, if you're listening to this right now and you're saying to yourself, well, okay, I'm married, right? We've been married for, if you're fucking the same, having the same conversations, traveling to the same places, earning the same, doing the same shit that you were doing last year, newsflash, you're fucking stuck.
Yep.
Newsflash, that's exactly why you are where you are, is because you haven't progressed, my friend. If your income ain't going up, if your sex ain't getting wilder and crazier, if your body is still looking the exact same and your chubby dad bod with the man titties, you got yourself a problem. It means you put your camping chair down and you're sitting there and you ain't moving.
Yeah.
And if you're single and somehow you find yourself dating the same people over and over and over again, or complaining and bitching and moaning how there's no good guys or there's no good girls or they're all assholes or they're all bitches, newsflash, you better get your ass out of that chair and start fucking moving.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, like, what you and I have deeply rooted in us, that I know when you said fuck off the first time, you and I did not just put a camping chair down and say, one of these days this chick's going to come along and she and I are going to work, or this dude's going to come along and we're going to work. You and I went really, really deep into some hardcore fucking work, and we built radically different people.
Yeah.
We built radically different mindsets. We didn't happen to find, we didn't ass into it, we didn't fall backwards over into it. You and I went and did, tell me if you agree,
you're
the
right on
hardest
point.
fucking work that we have ever done. I've done the hardest work, the gnarliest, most intense, most scary, most like humiliating, humbling work I've ever done in my entire life over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Without question. And I think you would agree.
Likewise.
The same. Because the truth is, if you're finding yourself in the same situation over and over again, the definition of insanity is banging your head against the wall over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yep.
And if you find yourself and your marriage is the same, if you're finding yourself dating the same, waiting, quote unquote, waiting, I can't wait for my king to come along, I can't wait for my queen to come along, you better get the fuck up and start moving, man. If you're waiting for somebody to come meet you, if you're waiting for somebody to come fucking save your shit, good luck. You're going to be sitting on that path in your camping chair 40 years from now, telling the same story, bitching about the same stuff, crying about the same freaking woe is me bullshit.
Yeah.
Would you agree, babe?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. That's it. Like, the timing of my life at that time was to do hard work and to get really, really, really focused on it. You know, it's like there was no turning back, and there was no, it was not going to go any other way than forward. And I want to asterisk this too, is if just one of us would have gone and done the work during those 6 months, we would have never reconnected.
Well, and here's why.
We're totally different.
And I like to break this down so people can understand it. Like, no offense to anybody, but I'm crayons, right? And draw with crayons on a whiteboard and imagine literally the figurative reality of Saxony sitting on a porch saying, why, I want the king, where's the deal, whatever. Yeah. Fast forward to today, if you were still sitting on that porch, you and I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be together. Our paths never would have crossed. Like, you had to advance down the path significantly in order for you and I to even see each other. I had to advance down the path significantly to even see you, right?
Yeah.
And this is something I think is really, really, really important. This is the conflict. This is the conflict of this conversation, because we're talking about timing, right? And being in the right place at the right time, but not staying there and moving. It's like almost this anomaly of, well, which is it? Am I in the right place or am I not in the right place, right? I think if you were able to truly acknowledge where you are, you said this, you said you were the common denominator. You're sitting on the porch and you realize it's not the guys, it's not the money, it's not the Tinder, it's not the thing. You realize that you were the common denominator.
Yeah.
And you had to move in order to get something different. But what's cool and at the same time scary is people have to share truthfully where they are.
Yep.
And this is what I think most people avoid is like, well, you know, I based off of this or this or this or the national average of your statistics, I'm right in line of where I should be or this or that or the other. And what's fascinating with this conversation is being absolutely comfortable with where you are and acknowledging where you really are, but ridiculously uncomfortable about staying there.
Yeah.
You know, Ed Milet talks about being blissfully dissatisfied. I love hearing that. I love that. It made so much sense to me because he's like, I'm so grateful for where I am. I'm so appreciative for what I have, but I'm so dissatisfied with staying here. And it's an interesting thought process. And if you get that, my personal opinion is you'll always be on a trajectory going up. You'll always be moving forward. There might be days where you're not sure exactly where I'm going, but I just know that I'm going. But truly being able to know where you are, appreciate where you are, honestly, like ridiculously honestly, like you've got to be able to like say, hey, I'm the common denominator here. If I'm trying to find, quote unquote, find love and I'm not finding it, maybe it's me, right? Maybe I got to get up off that camping chair and start moving.
Yeah.
But then at the same time and in the same breath saying, I want more. I need to keep moving. I want to keep moving. And I think that understanding that and really appreciating that, you use the word grace a lot, giving yourself the grace of saying, okay, I know that I'm not where I want to be right now, but as long as you acknowledge it, now you have that knowledge capacity to be able to then move out of that space. And once you start moving, you know, I constantly share with clients, you and I talk about it, so long as we're moving, we'll always win.
Yep.
It's when you stop moving. Idle time is the devil's workshop, as somebody once said. But so long as you're moving, you'll always be winning.
Yep.
You'll always be moving forward. Your relationship, your body, your bank account, your fitness, your mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to break this down too. Is have you ever found yourself in a really, really, really like heavily resistant emotion around business, around a client, around a partner, around anything where it doesn't vibe to such a degree that you're just not happy, right? Those are those little signs from God, the universe, whatever, that you're probably not supposed to be in that space. But so many of us get so headstrong and determined to make something work. We're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It doesn't work. And this is where surrendering and not giving up. There's a massive difference. Surrendering is letting go of outcomes and trusting the process. Trusting God, trusting that what is meant to be will be. And that is so empowering. And it's almost like you learn to flow towards what is good for you, good for your business, good for your life in general, instead of trying to force something because you think it's what's right. I can peg this in business with me. I had clients that were, it's like I just bargained and wheeled and dealed with myself to get this. And I finally fired them. I was like, this person is not good for me. Come to find out, like I had so much more energy and bandwidth for the clients that were amazing.
Yep.
Learning to fire a client was like the most liberating thing I ever experienced in my life. I'm like, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're self-employed and that's your bread and butter. No, like letting go and learning to surrender that there's things out there that may appear to be good for you. They're not good for you. You and I have both had relationships this way. You force them and you force them. I've shared that I went to Al-Anon for a little while because I was with a person who had an addiction, and they talk about forcing solutions. Like you are trying to force something to happen instead of be awake to the reality of what is. And that, like hearing that for the first time in that room, I was thinking like, this is exactly how I live my life, and that's why I'm miserable. I want this person to behave a certain way so then I can have what I want, and I want this to go this way so that way I can have what I want, and I am comfortable. But God's like, Saxony, this is not what you're supposed to have, and I'm going to continue to make it miserable for you until you're I literally have to get kicked in the face by God because I don't listen well.
You and me both, sister. You
I'm
and me both.
like, okay, God, I'm on my knees. I've got black eyes. Like, okay, I hear you. Because I'm a very prideful person. I've got a big ego. I've got a lot of, confidence. It takes a lot for me to surrender, but it takes a lot less now.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, all right, we played this game. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So just those little times of like, taking a step back. It's like, maybe I don't know everything.
You keep telling me you do. You heard it here first.
Depends
folks.
on the topic.
You heard it here first. She said it. It's recorded. I guarantee you we recorded that, babe. I love this conversation, and it's one that is never going to change. It's never going to grow old, and it's always going to be our reality because where we are today, in a year from now, I don't want to be here, but at the same time, I'm grateful that I'm here now because I want to grow. I want to continue to move, and I think people, listening to this, it's again, this is an interesting conversation because I don't want to say difficult, but it's kind of difficult to understand it. Being blissfully dissatisfied is such a weird thing because we're not programmed that way. You're programmed to be happy or to be sad or to be this or to be this, and it's got to be this one or the other and this or this or this. It's kind of like, look, I love being here, but let's go. Like, let's keep going.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Let's keep expanding. Let's keep growing. But when you started, talking, or at the beginning of the show, you talked about the timing of things, understanding that right here in this exact moment, it's exactly the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then as long as I keep moving, the next moment will be there. And then the next moment will be there. And then the next moment will be there.
Yeah.
It's taken me many, many, many years to understand this, to get it. But I can tell you right now, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, I'm more happy now and more, I don't think content's the right word, but more at peace with my current reality than I've ever been in my entire life right now.
Yep.
And I truly attribute that to this conversation, to being at peace with where I am, not comparing myself to other dudes and national averages and statistics and this and that and the other, but saying every experience that I've had has led me to this point, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. All of the light, the dark, the good, the bad, the quote unquote, all of this shit, whatever you want to call it, has led me to this exact moment, to this exact podcast, to sitting here in this moment, and that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's fucking dope, right? But the second that I say that, I'm like, okay, now what? Okay, now what? Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, But I can tell you that without question, I'm more at peace now, more content and happy with my life than I've ever been in this mindset and in this game. And I think, I know that so long as we continue to have this conversation and keep this moving the way that we're moving, it's never going to change.
Right.
It's just going to get better. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get deeper. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Bring it home, baby.
I agree with you completely. And, it's like trusting that you're not in this alone. Like, God is a part of it. And you're not, even if things feel so dreary and hopeless, like, it's not. I was interviewed by Jeremy Finlay the other day, and he took me down. He wanted to hear my story. And it was interesting because I had to dig deep to remember. And then I started telling, I was like, wow, I've been through some shit. I forgot. Oh, and this happened. I forgot this happened. And it was really cool. And he said, how does this make you feel when you're talking about this? Is this I went into the dark parts. And I said, it's dope because I had to live in hell so I could, and so that I believe in this is a combination. This is my truth, is I'm a very, very, very fiery, spunky, positive, driven, outgoing person, and I was given those qualities in this life and my darkness, because the combination of such is I went through hell, and with the light and the grace and the heart and the boldness that I have as a person, I now am loud about the lesson. And I feel very called to connect with people that are in the darkness, and I have no shame in my story. And, it was just cool to hear, he's like, is that triggering? What do you feel about that? And I was like, I feel so much fucking gratitude. I am so grateful I went through hell, because now I look back and it's like all of that had to happen. In those moments, I didn't think they had to happen. I was like, why is this relevant? Why is this suffering so relevant? And now it's like, this is why my heart is so big, is I've been there. And so the timing of it all makes sense. It's like, you know, I could use analogies with like special ops people or people that have had kids that have killed themselves, or there have been illness, and what they've turned that into. They've transformed their lives. And it's all this weird combination of dark and light, but I believe that's why we're here. And so trusting that it's all part of it and continue to take forward positive action with your life is what it's all about.
Yep.
Otherwise, like, what are you doing? Tread water? That's fucking boring. That's a boring life. Don't do that.
You said this, and I think we'll wrap up with this. Being grateful for it.
Always.
I pray you guys hear this, because Saxony and I know are both on the same page with this, and I know that this has probably transformed my life more than anything else that I've done, is looked at all of these quote-unquote experiences and things that were dark or things that were painful or things that were traumatic, and I have flipped the script on those and understood and believe with everything in my heart that those were exactly what I needed to get to where I am today. And when you can find gratitude for where you are today, you look back on every one of those experiences with tremendous gratitude. So all of those people that quote unquote hurt you, all those people that wronged you, all those people that fucked you over, all those people that screwed you, the ex-husband, the ex-wife, the ex-boyfriend, the ex-girlfriend, if you're hanging on to drama, resentment, anger, bullshit with any of them, you will never truly understand what peace is really like.
Yeah.
If you are hanging on to drama, resentment, anger, frustration, bitterness, blame at all towards any of these people in your past, you've not fully learned the lesson.
Yeah.
And I know, and I can say with 100% clarity, like having many of my friends that have known me for years echo this, like, it really feels good to see people or to have people share with me, like, dude, you just look happy. You look different.
Yeah.
Because I am. And I can tell you without question, I've done the meditation, I've done this, the whole thing. That has come, and my current state of peace, my current state of appreciation, my current state of love has come from truly becoming grateful for my past.
Yeah.
And becoming grateful and having gratitude for the people of my past. Almost like loving those experiences and being so grateful, no matter how fucking dark they were, man. Some of them were so dark and so painful. My parents breaking up and my marriage and all of these things, like, I can tag so much pain to those experiences. But I sit in a place now and I look at them and I'm like, I'm so fucking grateful that I had those experiences to bring me to where I am now. You and I would not work. We would never have gotten to where we are right now had we not experienced so much heartache and pain in relationships in the past. We have so much gratitude for where we are right now. We also work really well because we worked really poorly with other people in the past. We're like, that doesn't work, that fucking sucks, so I'm gonna try different shit, and here we are now with a shit ton of experience that didn't work, that we don't like. Now we have a whole lot of stuff that we do that makes it work. But I want people to hear that. Guys, listen to this and really put this in your pipe and smoke it. And this is not an overnight thing. This has taken me years and years of work to have true gratitude. And some of you say, well, fuck you, or that's good for you, or that's not my place or my deal. Trust me, your story ain't crazier than mine.
No.
Not a single one of you listening to this right now has a crazier story than mine. You ain't further down the rabbit hole. I could trade daddy stories with you. I could trade ex stories with you. I could trade ex-wife stories with you. I could trade stories all fucking day long. So just understand, cool, you in pain, you got some deep shit, you were manipulated as a kid, abused as a kid, whatever, cool, been there, done that, right? When you truly flip the script and understand that all of those things were perfect and they were exactly what you needed to get you to this point today, and you can have true gratitude, to me, that's the ultimate level of freedom. That's the ultimate level of liberation. That's the ultimate state of love.
Mm-hmm. And taking those stories, instead of having them as baggage, have them as tools in your toolbox.
They're assets.
Assets. Tools in your toolbox. I mean, the laundry list of, you can make it as a negative laundry list, or you can have it as a positive laundry list of things. It's like, I have all of this knowledge and experience, not all this business and bullshit.
Boom.
It's like, how do you want to see it?
Dude, you and I, this is the reason I don't want to beat the horse to death. This is the reason I think that you and I work. I think this is the reason that you and I are where we are, and I'm grateful for that. I'll brag about that shit all day long, because we've been in some really, 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 really dark fucking places, and it was that darkness that helped us get here.
Yeah.
And I know, having talked to you, you're grateful for it. You share gratitude,
and I'm grateful for you for that.
Great gratitude of it.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. Like, I held on to a lot of baggage for a lot of years. I was angry for a lot of fucking years. I blamed people for a lot of fucking years. I blamed exes and things and the marketplace and partners and people, and all of a sudden it's like, no, dude, I taught you something.
Yeah.
Like, and here you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I'm grateful for the market crashing in 2008. I'm grateful for these experiences that I had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I can go on and on about
We
this.
could.
But this is why I appreciate you so much, is I see you and I see that how much I know we've talked about this in our personal lives, just the two of us, is that I often thank you for the work that you did to show up in your life and to become the man that you are today, because you're exactly the man that I was hoping to find when I was doing my work, as someone who had done that dark work and stepped into such brave places, and those are my people. Like, that's why when we were on stage at LDL, like, those are my people.
Right.
Like, you don't get better than that.
I am pretty fucking awesome.
You are, and you're pretty cute.
I'm
pretty
I am
cute.
pretty good looking. I've got a good beard. Hair's thinning a little bit, but I still have it. You know what I mean? That's good, right?
You're fantastic.
Love you, babe. This
I
is a
love
good
you.
conversation. I'm glad that you brought this to the table. This is a really good conversation, and one that I think we could continue to have. Friends, be grateful for where you are. The timing is perfect. It's exactly where you need to be, but don't fucking stop.
Don't
Wherever
fucking
you are,
settle.
give thanks, smile, look up to the heavens, thank God, and then get on your fucking bike and keep riding.
Oh.
All right, guys, we love you, appreciate you. Please share this with anybody that you know that needs to hear it. Again, we really appreciate you guys going over to iTunes, to Google Play, leaving us a review, telling us you love us and how awesome and fucking great this show is and hot Saxony is. And
Oh dear, I love you.
until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.